Hello folks, guess what I'm doing for the next 10 days? I'm riding another blood bike for Cornwall Bloodbikes, and what I do is I'm just doing a little bit of an update on how things have gone since the lockdown, and as we seem to be getting towards removing some of the restrictions on the lockdown, I thought an opportunity appeared that I was riding along the same road that we were riding last time, or close to it, so I thought I'd do a little comparison of how the roads have changed. So let's go. I've just started my shift just a little while ago, and I'm just on my finishing my first job, and I'm going back in towards Newquay. It's about the same time of day that I was doing did the last chat on the blood bikes, but I thought I'd get on and do another one. Anyway, blood bikes, really busy. Oh my word, that's what I wanted to talk about. In a normal month, outside of this coronavirus pandemic thing, we'd typically do about 260 jobs, 280 jobs if we were really pushed. I think in May we did over 800 jobs. And it's now June, and I've just started my next 10-day shift. It's 19th of June and I'm on job 447. So we're on a target to do the same sort of thing. Now, we've been really lucky, all the blood bike groups within the UK, because BP very kindly said that they would pay all the fuel for the emergency services during the pandemic. And you sort of think, well, you know, that's going to save us a bit of money. I think it saved Cornwall Bloodbikes about £4,000, which is a substantial amount of money for an organisation that has to raise all its own funds and gets no help from the NHS. So we're very pleased with that. That's now ended, so we're back paying for ourselves. But if you remember last time I did the ride, I was talking about how the roads were so quiet, we could practice our bends, and it was really refreshing to get out and, you know, not be that worried necessarily about other road users, because there weren't any. You know, on one particular day I drove back from Exeter, and I wasn't overtaken once. Not because I'm riding one of these bikes, but there was just no cars on the road. So as you've just seen, as I came around that last roundabout, people are now back on the roads, and it is absolutely horrifying to see how much people's skills have deteriorated in the period that they've not been driving. We've had lots of near misses for the blood bikes, and it's not as if you can't see us. But what I found is, and this is what I want to get across to you, it's blood bikes are doing all the stuff they normally do, but it's the safety of motorcycles. You know, we are 1% of the traffic on the road. We're about 26% of all the accidents that happen. There are good riders, there are bad riders, okay, and it's not all car drivers' faults that these accidents are happening. A lot of it is the motorcyclists, and I can't deny that. So what I would recommend is, if you got the opportunity, get some training in, do some advanced riding training with either ROSPA or the IAM. They're both exactly the same, just different names, and it will pay dividends. It will help you ride in a very defensive fashion, because that's how we're riding now. Before, when the lockdown first started, there was nobody on the road. We were still riding within the speed limits. We're not allowed to break the speed limits, and it was very easy to ride. Now we're back into traffic jams. And the thing that surprises me, you know, a couple of weeks ago they were doing this clap for the NHS and, you know, the emergency service and key workers and all that kind of stuff. It's all out the window now. Gloves are off. If I'm overtaking somebody in their cage, they're going to race me, because that's what they want to do. It's just the most bizarre mindset that has manifested itself after this lockdown. And I don't know the reason why. It's frightening. I'm going out now thinking, you know, on the bike, Wonder what's going to happen this time. As we saw at the last roundabout when I came round, people don't even look at you. If you look at that video and slow it down, the person in that car didn't even turn their head right to see if I was coming. And I've got lights on, I'm dressed in full high vis, the bike is as you would imagine, and they still didn't even register you. Now that's happening all the time. We've had people who've been driving on these roads where they've been quiet. They've joined the main road, so they've come in from the left hand side, as we do in the UK, and they don't even bother looking right. They're just not imagining that there's anybody going to be there. And what annoys me most is, even when they do that, and they've cut you up, or and you're suddenly jamming the anchors on, there's no, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, or oh, I must have been a bad driver at some point there. There's no admission of guilt. Somebody the other day cut me up on my own bike really badly, just pulled out of a junction, and they flicked me the bird, and it wasn't even my fault. I didn't even use my horn or anything. It's just the most bizarre thing. But on my last shift, I had an experience where I was turning a roundabout right. There was 3 lanes stopped at traffic lights. I was in the right hand lane to turn right, nobody in the middle lane, and a car in the outside lane. And when the lights went to green, the car in the left hand lane, which is the inside lane as far as we're concerned in the UK, just cut right across the roundabout in front of me, right across my lane to get into the lane on the other side. I mean, it's just the most bizarre thing. If I hadn't have managed to stop, I'd have been in the side of the car, and that's an accident that should never have happened. It didn't, luckily, but this is the sort of thing we're dealing with now, and every time you go out it's quite shocking. So you can see the traffic has increased. Even as I'm speaking to you now, I've got a car right behind me, little Mini, and it is right on my tail. It's a 30 mile an hour limit, and the car's trying to push me. It's like people have just gone mental. That's probably the wrong word to use, but it just, it frustrates me, because they've just driving in a different fashion. We've come through a 30 mile an hour limit there. We're now into a national speed limit, so I can get up to 60. I know that car isn't going to follow me. So this is a nice little S-bend, series of S-bends. I love this little road here. And that car that was right on my tail is nowhere near me now. But when we get back into town in a minute, they'll be right on my backside again. It's like the social distancing that we're all practicing goes out the window when you're in a car, and it is very, very odd, a very odd situation to be in. I've had we've started retraining ROSPA training, and IEM has started training associates again, which is very good. I was out with a guy today, and there's been a real lack of, you can see, because people they're rusty on their bikes, have not been out, and I'm very lucky that I get out and do this. The car is right behind me again. I get out and do this, and so can keep my skills up to scratch. But it is absolutely stark to see that how some people's skills have just deteriorated quite a lot. So I'm coming now into another roundabout, and this is it's a hard roundabout to see around. From the right hand side where the traffic comes from, it's very difficult to see sometimes. So obviously you've got to slow down and approach it slowly. The car behind me is now screaming up behind me. There's a van coming over the other side of the roundabout. See, the car just pulled straight out there. And it's almost like they're not even slowing down to get back onto these junctions. They're just coming out at full speed, because they're not expecting vehicles to be there. I must admit they jump a little bit when they see a blood bike, because obviously they think it's not a blood bike. But that's no defence. I saw a video on YouTube today of a policeman driving through a town with 2 police bikes, and this car just turned right in front of them, right in front of the 2 police bikes, and then drove off. It's odd. So this next roundabout we're going to go left, and that's the road that I did the original video on a couple of weeks ago. It's a really nice road, and if there's nobody on it, you can really enjoy yourself. within the speed limits. Okay, I've noticed that we've got a lot of holidaymakers have come down now, even though they're not supposed to travel. There's nowhere open for them, but they're all down here in their second homes and things like that, which is, you know, that's what it is, that's what it is. But the standards of driving they're bringing with them are very poor. Okay, if you saw the signpost that was there, it said raised ironworks, and that's because there's roadworks going on here. So the ironworks are the drain manhole covers in the middle of the road. They're raised by about 6 inches in places, so it's a bit of a shock. And there's no lights here at night, so it's something to be very aware of. They're taking the top surface of the road off to relay it. Don't know why, because this actually, the bit of road is not bad. The worst part of the road is further along, and that's not being worked on. When I did the last video, I flew up this road at 60 miles an hour, no cars anywhere near me, no worries at all. Now we've got constant traffic coming towards us. Luckily the roads are dry for the first time today. We've had some quite big rain showers, but they're dried off now nicely. This is where it's important when you're driving to be able to see, use your long range observations and see what's coming towards you. Before, when there was not much traffic around, it was just, you were looking at blank roads. Now there's vehicles travelling all the time. So every night currently we have in Cornwall we've got 9 guys on shift. Normally we only have 6, so we've had to increase by a third. By 3. And every night everybody's out. All the bikes have got cameras on them, they're all downloaded, and if we have incidents, they are actually downloaded and sent to the police. They must be getting sick of us now, because there's loads going in, I'm sure. And I would also offer this bit of advice to people. If you've got a motorbike and you can afford it, get a camera fitted, a front and rear facing camera. They're not that expensive. You can get them for about 100, 150 quid, something like that. But in an accident, that might just be the bit that saves your insurance, you know, because as you've already seen, motor car drivers aren't driving very sensibly at the moment. But also a thing to remember is if you get a camera, it records everything you do. So if you're driving badly and they look 10 minutes back before you have your accident, okay, they will obviously see that you are driving irresponsibly. Okay, this guy here now, I got up to 60 miles an hour there to pull alongside him, and he actually pulled out to and increased his speed, so I didn't get past him. And now there's a motorcyclist coming up the hill going very slowly. We'll see what happens here. Now normally they give a big wide berth, but I know they're not doing that anymore. Cars are just squeezing past, and that's why it's important when you do your test not to drive, when you've past your CBTs and things, not to drive in the left hand side of the road like this guy's doing, because if you do, it means car drivers will think, oh, I can get past him, and they'll try it. They will definitely try it, which is crazy. Okay. Also, this guy here is riding without gloves on. Please, fellas, ride with gloves on. You know what I mean? The first thing you're going to put down if you fall is your hands. So the worrying thing about a guy like this is that he's riding one-handed, he's got no mirrors, there's no legal requirement to have mirrors on your bike, but he's wiggling around all over the lanes, but he's not doing any over-the-shoulder checks, which is a bit worrying. So Cornwall Bloodbikes, just like all the other Bloodbikes, we've been doing COVID runs, carrying the COVID swabs from the testing stations and things like that. So we've been kept really busy, which is good. I think one guy last month during his shift had, it was, I don't know how long his shift was, but he did over 2,500 miles. So we're coming into a 40-mile-an-hour limit now. And this is just about the end of my conversation. I don't want it to be a long thing. So all I'm saying is, fellas and ladies, if you're out on your bikes, you've got to be so careful, so careful that you're riding safely. You've got to watch everybody who's on the road. They're all driving in a bizarre fashion at the moment, so you really do need to think about what it is you're doing and just be safe, because we want you to subscribe to our channel. Toby will put something up here, and if you like the channel, give us a big thumbs up, and we'll hopefully see you soon. We've got loads of videos coming up, but we'll see you soon.